Direct elimination.
On today's episode, Stephen and I spoke about the February 2026 North American Cup and how it went for both Stephen and me, as well as we took an interesting turn and spoke about intense parenting within sports, specifically youth sports, and how not only we feel about it, but how we feel it can potentially impact your kid, and you can maybe take a different stance to improve it. And of course, we had a lot of fun. Hey.
Hey there.
So it looks like we're ripping another Stephen and Ari only pod.
I like it.
Only pod. That's funny. So yeah, where were we this weekend?
We were in Cincinnati, Ohio.
Loveliest city in America.
Honestly, I liked Cincinnati. I liked that it was a larger Midwest city, like of these ones that we commonly go to. But the skyline was nice. And I liked that there was some topography there, like some elevation. There was mountains or like hills surrounding the city.
I didn't expect hills.
I didn't either. I thought it was really cool.
I thought the hills were a nice touch.
It was a good
definitely
touch.
shot it to number one city in Ohio in my heart. And I think that overall it was just probably a bittersweet weekend for us, even for you a bit. But overall,
no bitterness there. That was all sweetness.
Really? It was all sweet.
All gravy, man.
No, I think we both wanted better results than what we got.
Yeah, but
there's no bitterness at all.
There was no bitterness.
Okay,
for that,
am I using the wrong word?
No, okay. No, you're not. I'm just, from my perspective, no bitterness there.
I felt that the only thing that could have gone better this weekend would have been
getting more points.
Not more points, just more wins. More wins in the bag. But otherwise, yeah, it was an awesome weekend. It was an awesome weekend for a lot of different people. Obviously, every event that occurred, you get one winner, but a lot of people really showed up and showed out. Our team in particular had a wonderful weekend. We had 8 guys or 9 in the event and 5 in the 16.
Yeah.
We had
8, right?
8 with Joe.
9 with Joe.
No, 7 with our Airbnb, 8
then
with
Ian.
you, and 9 with Joe.
Yeah.
9 guys or so.
Yeah.
And 5 of them in the round of 16. And you and I had to fence to get there. Oh, yeah. Spoiler alert. It finally happened, everyone. The direct elimination matchup. And it was a lot earlier than either of us would have liked.
Yeah.
And a lot more anticlimactic than either of us thought it would be. But, Stephen, you can give them the update.
I gave Ari the work, gave him the business, came out on top.
Yeah.
But I will say he didn't use all the tools in the toolbox that he could have to beat me. And sometimes you don't have everything you need with you on that day, and it doesn't go well if somebody can recognize that. But he fenced very well. He got good touches. We had a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think it was fun despite the loss, and then honestly the feeling of it's not only the not using all the tools in the toolbox, it's the feeling of not rising to the occasion. I felt that you were more assertive, and I was constantly on the reactive side of things. And I would
agree with that analysis.
That was a really challenging feeling to face, because in that moment, everything fades away and you're fencing a teammate, you're fencing a friend, you're fencing, or facing, it doesn't even have to be fencing. It's just when you're going against someone who knows your tricks, and I know your tricks, obviously. And it was sort of a question of who's going to break first. And you got a good lead in the beginning. And from there, I tried to chip away at it and stay in there. And honestly, I was more in it than I felt. And that's a really key piece. I think that was tough. Feeling like I wasn't as in it as I was, where there was a 2-point deficit. But it
feels like a 4 or a 5 point deficit. Like
I just felt the overwhelming, almost a daunting feeling of how much work needed to be done to get those 2 points. And then instead of going and doing that work, I just gave you some freebies, like too many unforced errors. I was lucky enough to get a semi-blurry version of the video sent to me by a friend of ours, and I got only the last part of the bout. And yeah, there was that work that I was talking about just didn't happen. But it was kind of fun to have it come to fruition finally. Yeah. We had an almost in October.
But no, it was a really fun match. And I think you touched on, I guess, something that we can talk about is just like that fencing a teammate mindset. For me, it was like you said, you're fencing a teammate, you're fencing a friend, but you're really not. Like in those moments, you have to kind of separate all those things, and you're just fencing. Obviously, I'm not gonna like try and hurt you or anything. Not that I would never try and hurt anybody on purpose.
Steve and I have tried to hurt each other in the past, though, but we were much younger.
Darker times.
We were much younger.
But I think I did a good job of just like really separating all that and really not getting caught up in that. And then, like, one thing I will say to what you were touching on is like, yes, I know all your tricks and you know all my tricks, but I think in that moment I had the tricks in the back of my mind and I didn't expect the tricks, right? Because I think if you go in with an expectation of exactly what your opponent's going to do, if they deviate from that, like you're going to be searching for something that's not there and sort of opening yourself up while you're looking for this thing that isn't there. And like, sure enough, if I had gone in with the plan of fencing you exactly how I fence you at practice, instead of just seeing where it goes, I think it would have been a lot closer because I would have been searching for things that weren't there. And I think even, knowing that I could have scored all these touches now, I wouldn't have been scoring them because I would have been falling into these traps that weren't there, right? I'm struggling a little bit with the wording.
But I hear you. Yeah. I definitely didn't go into it fencing you like I do at practice. Honestly, I think I fence you better at practice.
Yeah, you fence me a lot better at practice.
No, I think the hardest part for this NAC for me was staying focused. I think that this is a constant issue for all athletes. And I think that, for us in particular, we're now putting ourselves in a position where we speak a lot. We put ourselves out there a lot. And we were received really warmly this NAC. And it was really, really amazing. And I love that aspect. So thanks to any of you that came up to us or supported us or asked us for autographs, which was wild. And that was so amazing. And at the same time, it proved to be yet another obstacle for someone like me who's very easily distracted to have to overcome. And I spent a lot more time, I believe, speaking than I needed to. And I think that the really key, shocker. I think the really key elements of focus for me are the minutes leading up to a match. And I know that leading up to our bout, I had finished my bout after you had finished yours. And I went to go give the slip to the bout committee. And sometime between then and us fencing, all the time evaporated. I didn't sit down and do my mental preparation for the match the way that I knew I should. And that showed, I think, early on. I think you immediately kind of just took the momentum. And, going into this podcast, Steve and I don't have plans for our solo ones. We just kind of talk. I feel sad, not because of the loss. We lose so much in our sport. And honestly, not because of the effort. I feel like I really left it all out there.
You did put in effort.
Yeah, we were working really hard, both of us. I think the sadness comes from that focus and honestly, like a lack of bout awareness, especially after watching it back on video. Seeing things as they were versus how they felt was really tough to see how not even close to a line that was. And that's just something that I guess I'm going to have to sit with till the next time out. Yeah. And obviously, we're going to go back to practice as early as today, tomorrow. But point being, it was a great experience. And, it's the goal of these tournaments is to go and fence the hard people. And I made it to the hardest person that I'd have a chance to fence all day, That was you. And I wasn't victorious. You were. And as a teammate, I'm really happy. And as a competitor, I'm challenged. I've 2 of the NACs this year back to back. I've lost to teammates. So the goal of these, challenging moments is to expose the gaps in your game, expose where you need to go and do more work. And whatever it is that I tell myself, the reality is I have to go and work a little bit harder in really particular aspects of my fencing and hope to bring out the best next time.
Yeah.
But so then after me, you got to fence our other, sort of teammate, definitely teammate via Prieur, potentially future teammate in New York, and former teammate for you at Notre Dame. So you had almost the exact situation that I faced the next round.
Yeah.
Right?
No, I won't.
Nick Candela.
Nick Candela.
Congrats, Nick.
He fenced so well that day. Like watching his bout before me, like while ours was going on, I think. I saw some of the touches he was getting, and I saw the beginning of that match, and I was like, wow, Nick's fencing really well today, and I won't dive too deep into the match, but I do think I made one. He surprised me, like showed me some quality of touches that I did not know he had. Like I wasn't familiar with your game, Nick. Sorry about that, but like surprised in a good way. Like your friend, someone just like hits you with this thing that like was so fast and so smooth and looked so technically sound that I kind of stopped for a second in awe, like it was a really like that appreciation for the sport, I think was kind of a cool moment for me. And then after that, it was just a tactical error, like my tactics in the bout weren't what they needed to be until it was too late. And I've kind of realized I've lost a lot of matches in the last year making the same sort of tactical error. And gonna work hard on, how can I recognize those moments sooner, and how can I think more tactically when I'm in these bouts and like not fall to these things. But all in all,
brother.
All in all, very very happy to have gone out and performed, even semi decently well. It was just a joy to be out there, and like a joy to see all the people that we know, and also as you touched on, and that I really wanted to get into is like. Thank you so much to everybody who came up and talked to us about the podcast, and like, thank you for listening. It was kind of surreal to like have people from states that like I haven't met really any fencers from, and they were like, I'm driving to practice, I listen to your podcast, and that made me so happy. So for anybody who like, feel free to come up and tell us. Ari's going to get better at focusing. You're not going to take me out of my game.
It's not your fault that I didn't focus, guys. Yeah. I had plenty of opportunities to focus even with all these awesome conversations happening.
And like people asking us to sign stuff, like my response whenever somebody's always asked me to sign something is like, are you sure you don't want a good fencer to sign it? And I'm going to keep saying that for a little while longer because I don't know how to handle that situation still, but
well, they don't want you because of the fencer, Stephen.
Yeah, they want it for the podcast.
They want the podcaster.
The signature is worth nothing, but we'll absolutely give it out. Love doing that. So thank you. Yeah, thank you guys so much for listening, and thank you for being a part of the community, introducing yourselves to us. I think, and I said this to one of those people, but I really do think this sport is one for anyone who likes it. Right. Anybody who enjoys and loves doing this and like catches the bug, doesn't matter how late in life you start, you can get better at it. You can get proficient at it. Like it really doesn't matter. And as long as you're willing to like sort of play the long game with it and like work on yourself, work on your game, work on your physicality, like you can be good at this. I truly believe from the bottom of my heart that anybody can be good at this
Anyone
sport.
Can cook, Chef Gusteau.
Yeah, it's really it's not like it's not like sprinting or anything where like you have to be so fast. Like you can find your strengths. You can develop different strengths at any age in this sport if you're willing to put in the work.
And I think the key outside of the work is just finding a way to be honest with yourself. And, there's so many ways to do that. Having good coaching is obviously the easiest way to do so. Not everyone has access to that. videoing yourself, watching yourself on video. That's a place where I've been lacking lately, but the tripod's coming back out this week at practice.
Oh boy.
I think it's important to watch yourself. I think it's key to see, especially for someone like me. I've identified that, similar to you with these tactical things, maybe for you, you're really aware and you're just picking the wrong answer in the multiple choice. But for me, it seems as though I'm not fully understanding the problem at hand or fully aware of myself. And that's really where the video is something that helps me. But regardless, I totally agree with Stephen. And it's so awesome to see people getting into it, see people enjoying what we're putting out. And we want to keep doing that.
Yeah.
And let's be clear, the bitter aspect from the bittersweet.
I wasn't accusing you of being
did not even
bitter.
Close to outweigh the sweet part. The bitter was really just taking losses and knowing deep inside that you could have played it differently or whatnot is something as a competitor for me that just sits for a while. And it hasn't been that long. It's been 2 days since we competed.
Traveling yesterday.
But I'm going to sit with that for a while. And it's so funny, some people even reached out and made jokes about the podcast ending and stuff. None of that bitterness has to do with Stephen. It's all so internally focused. Like that could have been any fencer in front of me. It just happened to be Stephen, which added to the lore, the memes and whatnot. But any of the frustration or things that I'm thinking about my own growth are so internally facing.
Yeah.
So, and Stephen, I'm just lucky that one of my best friends is the person that got to be the mirror for me, because then it's even more honest. We debriefed within 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Right. And that was really key for me, and I'm lucky. So thanks for that.
No, of course.
But let's talk about some of the more sweet stuff on the epee side. I'm starting to really see, and not just from our group, but as the U.S. men's epee circuit as a whole, how competitive we're becoming internally as we prepare for the international scene. Obviously, our team on the international level has yet to show what it's really capable of, and I think we're working towards that.
Oh, absolutely.
But internally, just watching how prepared so many of us are for these tournaments and how much headbutting there is in terms of these clashes early on, in the middle, towards the end, and how well people are able to push themselves to compete is really cool. That top 16 was really strong. And it was awesome to see people rise to the occasion.
Yeah.
Obviously for our club, New York Athletic Club, our teammates, we had 5 in the top 16, and we had one of our friends and newer teammates have his career best day, Sean Strong, in the finals. It was insane to watch him all day.
That's so well, really.
He hit anything he wanted.
It was awesome to watch. It was really cool to watch.
Yeah, those days don't come all the time for people, so getting to be a part of his day, and hopefully he'll have many more.
Yeah.
But to watch him on one of the days where he literally hit anything he wanted was awesome. And he was so focused, so locked in. And same with, we have other teammates. I'm continuing to go. Cut me off.
I'll just say, like, I joked that nature was healing with this top 16 because I think in the last, I want to say 5 years, and this is going back to when I had a little worse headspace on fencing, right? And I was too caught up in this person doesn't look like a good fencer, so therefore why are they doing well, right? The janky fencer shouldn't be doing well. I felt like there was so many more upsets and people that had previously not had results, or that, I at the time didn't necessarily view as like being of that caliber to make a 16 and 8 for a final. We had so many NACs with just like such inconsistency and so many like, how did this person get to the 16? This top 16, I felt like so many solid fencers who fought through so many other solid fencers. And we had a very, very good group of skill and talented in that top 16. And there was not very many surprises, like.
You're highlighting a key piece here. Especially, and I think I was touching on the same thing, but just to see the level of competitiveness, what I meant is so many of the guys that are experienced and strong, and even the strong young kids, we're not seeing as many upsets,
Right.
which is not characteristic of men's epee.
Right.
Sure,
It's
we had
the-
people
the
like
epee
Sam
factor,
Emmerich,
yeah.
like myself, like Henry Lawson, Cooper Schumacher, and a few others
see,
who
like,
were top that didn't make it.
That's I wanted to.
But
touch
we're
on
losing
that,
to
yeah.
each other.
Right.
Sam lost to Tristan Sapari in the 32. You and I faced in the 32. So some people are messing up their pools.
Right.
But really, one of the things that I'm proud of in my own fencing as I've gotten older is I used to drop so many bouts that were uncharacteristic of, or I guess it was characteristic of my fencing, but it was not. I wouldn't go home and say, yeah, that person is someone who is like a 50-50 with me. It would be like, oh, give me
9 times out of 10.
9 times out of 10, I'm getting that. You and me, that's like a 50-50 match. Ryan,
Sure.
50-50. And I think that for you and Nick, probably a 50-50 match, right?
Yeah.
So those bouts are just, as a competitor, you walk away and you're always more at peace with the loss, knowing that like you needed to bring your A game to beat them. But many fencers are just rising to the occasion more, and I think that's cool. And that's a term that I used earlier to say that I didn't rise to the occasion, right? At the same time, earlier I did. The bout before you, I was losing 5-1 really early to a much younger fencer who came out swinging.
Yeah.
He raised the level instantly, and I had to dig deep and work hard in order to ensure that there was no upset that happens. And but the point is that I still ensured it. Oleg had a 15-14 earlier. Sam Emmerich had a 15-14 earlier.
He had a couple.
You didn't seem to have any 15-14. Justin, you had 15-14s all the way up the ladder, right?
Yeah.
But still bringing those wins at the end of the day is the key that that allows us to have these stronger matchups later on. And it was fun to watch.
Yeah. I think that's a piece that, when you get a hard path, like everybody wants the Cinderella path to the final, right? And when you want the result, right? Obviously, if I'm not going to say I want to do it the hard way. Okay, yes, I do too.
No, I hear you.
Yeah,
deep down,
you want
every
the
single
Disney
person
path,
wants the
right?
Disney
you
path.
want
Yeah.
Justin, you used that term this weekend, and I loved
funny.
it. The Disney path.
The Disney.
But those close matches where you win 15-14 or you have someone hard that is like a 50-50 match early on, that gets your mind and your body primed for the rest of the day, right? To deal with that pressure and that added stress and that added just difficulty in the bout, right? And to then pull out a close win early, I think that makes you fence better throughout the day, or it increases the likelihood that you'll fence better throughout the day because you're primed and you're ready and you've done it, right?
Yeah.
So I think, don't look at your path and go, this is hard. No, it's an opportunity, right? It's
always an opportunity.
Always an opportunity.
And even with our bout, I knew it was an opportunity to get out there and establish myself, as you did too, because neither of us want to be doing that in the 32. But once it's out there, it's out there.
Yeah.
So just like at the last NAC, Cooper Schumacher had to fence you and Justin before the 8 even.
Yeah.
Like, those were opportunities for him to establish himself. Those
Exactly.
are opportunities for you guys. And Justin had Dylan, right?
I had Dylan.
You had Dylan.
Yeah.
Like that's an opportunity. So anyways, enough about us and men's epee. It was just a really, really fun tournament at the end of the day.
Such a good time.
And really cool to just get to be a part of that as a fencer, as a spectator, as a I don't know, podcaster, whatever. But we're back to the grind.
Sabers, speed, epee, patience, foils, finesse, and quiet foundations.
Ari, recently I've had to come face to face with a terrible truth. I am officially getting older. My body is not as spry and young as it once was, and I've had to shift my focus to keep fencing into things like recovery, warming up, stretching, like things that I never could have conceived of when I was younger. And if you're listening to this and you're younger than me, it's around the corner for you. Now, here at Direct Elimination, we have something that can help. Our partner on this podcast, Myo, MYO, has locations in New York, Los Angeles, Calgary, Vancouver, and Toronto. So if you're a listener of this podcast in any of those cities or near any of those cities, be sure to go ahead and check them out. Myo is modern physical therapy to future-proof your body. They are opening people's eyes to how their body can move, and I am one of those people, proud to say. With Myo's help, I've been able to recover from multiple injuries, and I've gained a better sense of how my body moves and how I'm able to interact in space, and it's honestly helped my fencing a bit too. If you're interested in booking a session in modern physical therapy, use code DIRECTMYO100 for $100 off your first session. Again, that is DIRECTMYO100 for $100 off your first session at Myo. Ari, I have some sad news. I'm retiring my practice mask. But you want to know the good news? I got a new pre-air mask! Life is good when you get some brand new pre-air equipment. It fits a little better, it shines a little brighter, and you know what? I've always believed in not just fencing, but any athletics, right? You look good, you feel good, you perform good. So if you want to look good on the strip, be sure to go buy yourself some pre-air equipment at preairusa.com. Yeah.
What's next for you?
Working hard. Working real hard. I've signed up for Budapest. I don't think I'm going to make it.
Really?
I looked at the entries today.
Are we signing up for Kazakhstan?
Oh, hell yeah, I'm signing up for Kazakhstan.
I think a lot of people might not be signing up for Kazakhstan.
I think so too.
It looks like that might be a direct elimination journey to the land of Borat.
Guys, if you're not listening to this, please don't sign up for Kazakhstan. Yeah, if I may.
Yeah, you may.
I want to get on my soapbox.
Get on your soapbox.
We have talked, and this is still touching on the NAC.
Okay.
We have talked, and people have came up and said to us that they love this portion of our rants. Parenting in fencing.
Oh, yeah. Did you see something?
I saw something,
no.
and I'm going to get on my soapbox. It was, and I'm going to give a whole spiel. Get ready, buckle up.
All right, I'm buckled up because this is usually my soapbox too.
And I've never had much to say about it.
You hid this from me.
No, I just told the story a couple times over the weekend. I don't know who I didn't tell it to, but
maybe I heard this.
Maybe you did. And I was working on Friday remotely, but the day before the competition.
Oh, you did tell me this.
Yeah. I go to a coffee shop to get some work done.
What was the name of this coffee shop?
Deeper Roots.
Reap what you sow.
Shout out Deeper Roots Coffee. It was excellent coffee.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there doing my job, and I'm in this coffee shop for maybe 20 minutes of the 3 hours I had to spend in there. And an Egyptian coach and a Chinese family, and they said they were Chinese at some point in this conversation. Saber fencer, I believe. And the son was probably 15 or 16, just finished competing. Don't know how he did. But he sits down at a table with his coach and his parents. And they proceeded to berate him for over an hour. Repetitive. Just, you need to work harder. You need to be working every single day. You need to be doing X, Y, Z. You need to be putting in extra work. You need to be studying. You need to get into a good school. You need to get into an Ivy League school. You need to work harder. You need to work harder. You need to work harder. You can't screw around. You can't be wasting a single moment. You need to go to school, then go to practice, then go to bed, then go to school, then go to practice, then go to bed. And you need to do that every single day. And you need to get these results, and you need to make it to an Ivy League school. And I listened to this for over an hour, and it got to the point where I was maybe a minute or two from going up and saying something to them, because it was just like the kid didn't say a word the whole time. And
but you didn't even hear his perspective here?
Yeah. Or maybe he was whispering, head down or whatever. But I felt so bad for this kid. And then they left the coffee shop, and the regulars in the coffee shop and the baristas were like, oh my God. Like, they were talking about it after. And my soapbox for this is like, everything that those parents and the coach said to this kid, like, I've heard it from my own father, right? And this isn't a dig at my father, because everything they said,
we love Steve Ewart Sr.
Everything they and he said was correct, right? If you want to be good at this, if you want to truly, truly be great at this, you have to work hard, and you have to take no moments for granted and put in extra work, right? Especially at a young age, if you're trying to be like cadet national team, you're trying to get recruited, if you want to be like that guy, you got to work every single day and you got to put in extra work and you have to be singular in your purpose, right? It has to be school, training, sleep, school, training, sleep, right? And I did that for a long time, right? And I would sit in a car for an hour or 2 hours every day and my dad would give me the same lecture, right? And it was a lot, right? It was a lot to train all day, every day, and then go to school and keep your grades up and then train all day, every day to try and secure a future and to try and like do a sport. And I thought about it like, why was I able to do this? Like, I still got the talks, right? Because there was still work that I could have done. There was still free time I spent that I could have done more work. But, you know, at a certain point, you give so much, you need some rest. I don't regret the amount that I trained when I was a kid. But I thought about it like, you know, we're older now.
Yeah.
And our youth is faded, right? Our youth is fading.
Yeah.
And we devoted that youth to doing this, right? Just as these kids are doing now. And I realized that the reason I was able to happily devote my youth to that without even questioning it, right? Of like, oh, am I going to regret this when I'm older that I just trained all day, every day? No, I don't regret it today and I didn't regret it back then. And the reason was because I would go to these competitions alone and I would go compete and then win, lose, or draw, I would go have fun.
You never drew.
Never drew. But as soon as the competition was over, I was with friends, like my very, very close friends, in a random city, completely unsupervised, and I got up to all kinds of shit that a teenager should have been getting up to, right? That my counterparts in regular high school were getting up to and like making memories of their youth. I got to supplement that with post competitions. And that relieved so much of the pressure that was put on me in those situations to the point where I wasn't feeling it, right? Because the competition was just bonus. You know, you put in all this hard work. Now you know you've done the hard work. Maybe you'll perform, maybe you won't. You're going to try your best. But I didn't have to look forward to a 2-hour like beating after I finished competing. I got to look forward to like some of the best memories of my life, right? And so my message to like parents in this situation is like, really evaluate what value you're adding to this tournament experience, right? The smartest thing my dad did was as soon as I turned 15, he was like, you're going to these competitions on your own now. That he recognized, I'm not the coach. I don't add value. If anything, I hurt being there and adding pressure, right? So you're going to go. And that's going to teach you accountability, responsibility, and you got to go figure it out. And I think it made me a better person. It made me more responsible, more apt to deal with situations, right? To just go, here you are, 16, go sit on this plane for 10 hours and then go figure out how to get to your hotel, go figure out how to get your stuff checked, eat, you have to feed yourself, then be responsible, get to sleep. And then like, if you're going to go do anything afterwards, you have to like be safe and stay alive, right?
Make your flight back.
Make your flight back.
There are a few things that I want to talk about. So as we both know, I agree with you on many fronts here. I see it as a huge detriment right now to youth development in the sport. It's really interesting because it's a dual-edged sword. I think a lot of these parents are the same ones driving the growth of some really young, amazing athletes. At the same time, the pressure probably comes from the fact that these families in this economy, they're dedicating so many hours, effort, energy, and dollars that we have the luxury of not having to spend ourselves. And we're spending a lot of money on the sport, but we don't pay the same premium that everyone else does.
No, we
get some support, and it costs a lot of money, and that puts a huge strain on families. And at a certain point, I I can understand why or where the stress is coming from. I can understand the tension that exists. And I really liked one thing you said. The parents asking themselves, what value am I adding here? Because that pressure is not going anywhere, right? Every family has its own means. Every family has principles. And when there's an opportunity cost of doing something else and you spend that learning how to fence, traveling to these cities, trying to get recruited, there is a lot placed in that bucket. At the same time, if you think your kid doesn't know, and those parents, I don't think it was the first conversation they had with their kid. I highly recommend asking, what value am I adding to the situation? And is there a better way for me to communicate what I'm trying to communicate? Because are you asking your kid to put in more effort, or are you asking them to perform or else? Very different conversations.
Yeah.
Because I would get a beating from my family if I didn't put in the effort, if I didn't respect myself and my opponent, if I didn't do the things that I had to properly prepare so that I could prevent poor performance.
Nice.
You're welcome. That being said, it was never anger at me for a loss or a win or a result that wasn't there. The anger was always with the way that I treated my coach or myself or my opponent or the tournament experience. Did I stay up too late talking to girls? Did I, these things are real issues that I had as an individual. As we mentioned, my focus is something that is always been an issue for me. Just as an individual, I'm easily distracted, and I love spending time with people, and I love engaging. And for example, at this tournament, I would have been, if I had a little angel on my shoulder or a devil on my shoulder, it doesn't really matter. The angel would have said, you don't need to be having all these conversations to the extent that you are. Separate yourself. Go give your energy to yourself, right? And my bitterness from this tournament comes from that. Nothing to do with the result. Nothing to do with the points. You talk about points, points come and go. I fenced, you were fencing great when we fenced. I can't control how you fence.
Yeah.
I can control how I prepare for that moment. And parents, just ask yourselves, what is this doing to help your kid, right? And if it's too much for you, maybe send them with another guardian or alone. If it's too much for you financially, maybe fencing at that level isn't the sport for your kid. And if you're only doing it for them to get into school, that might be another issue altogether. So I totally agree with you on many of the points that you made. I was lucky enough to have my parents come with me to tournaments. I went alone to many as well. At the same time, the dynamic was a little different. So my lectures were typically, don't talk back, spend time focusing, why do you think you lost? Rather than, oh my God, you didn't get top 16, you loser. And it wasn't all about Ivy League for me and my family. And I think that really helped as well. And I think that these parents that are really just pushing for Ivy League should probably just reflect a little bit. What about the Ivy League draws you other than the word Ivy League? But really, what about it draws you? What about it draws your kid? What about your infatuation with it inspires your kid, if at all, right? So these are things that I think really need to be considered. And I really highly, highly advise fencing clubs and coaches, right? Like in our experience, that wasn't why we started fencing. That wasn't why we stayed in fencing. And
wasn't why we were good at fencing.
No, it wasn't why. I mean, and along with a lot of us, there are obviously people who did get good with that maybe being the primary driver, but there's so many people in our generation and generations below and above us that got amazing at the sport and continued to excel without that being the driving force. And they just fell in love with the game and got very good at it. But really, I think a part of the problem is that this stereotype or whatever is further perpetuated by clubs and the organizations pushing fencing as well. And I think that it does open up doors. If you do become really good at this sport, it opens up doors, but so does any sport. And for what it's worth, fencing has that it's just so dense at the college level. There's not enough space for everyone that's good. So if you're only doing it to get into a good school, you're really just going to be challenged. You better be the best. And, I don't know if, again, parents setting that expectation is necessarily what's going to do it. Performing under pressure and all the other things that go along with that, being able to have the levels so you performing under pressure will bring you the wins. I don't know how much of that can be driven from the parents. A lot of it can. We've seen it throughout history. King Richard, right? And so many other sports. Yeah. But Mia Reyes, and plenty of others. Stephen Ewart Sr., right? But at the same time, it's challenging. And we're not blaming anyone. It's more of just reflect. Everyone should always be reflecting. Yeah. We take these moments to reflect on ourselves. And we think that if you happen to be one of these intense parents and you also happen to listen to our podcast, first of all, thank you. Second of all, just reflect. It's not that you don't want what's best for your kid. You probably want the very best for your kid. Just think about if there's a better way for you to support them or convey them, because just throwing money at a situation and just throwing time at it is not necessarily what nurtures a tree to grow to its strongest, largest self.
Right. You need to work a little smart too. And I will say, I do think there is a place for having those conversations, and they can be strict conversations, right? Because I don't know, at least for me when I was younger, it wasn't getting through. And I thought
discipline is necessary.
Discipline is necessary. We're not saying, kumbaya your kids and don't la-di-da
results
parenting, but
and process are different.
My whole thing is I don't think right after the competition is a productive place for that. I think there is probably not a worse place for that conversation to take place than right after they lost, right? Because if this kid cares about the sport at all, and cares about winning at all, the loss already hurts bad enough. It's more important to get productive feedback for why you lost right afterwards than to be read the riot act.
Yeah, and not only that, it's just what are you looking for your kid to improve? You can't just say improve your results. That's you can, but you're not necessarily going to get what you want out of that.
Because how?
Yeah.
How? Why did you lose?
Think about how can you help impact the process positively. Yeah. And I do like that soapbox. That was a fun way to spend the last couple minutes.
Yeah, thank you for letting me get on my soapbox. Sorry to anybody who
it's all good.
Was here for fun times. But,
no, it's still a fun time. And just going back to the NAC, congrats to Gabe Feinberg for winning.
To Gabe Feinberg.
Obviously these are tense moments and he was able to rise to the occasion.
Absolutely.
We had some other teammates do well across other events, right? I know Grant Williams, our prior and New York Athletic Club teammate, got second at Division I men's saber. So we're going to give him a shout out. I got to watch a little bit of that day.
Yep.
Did we have any foil teammates perform very well? Let's check the results.
Yeah, let's check the results.
Let's just go roll through them a little bit here.
Can I tell the funny story from our bout to the viewers while you pull up the results?
Yeah. And can we pretend that my rebuttal happened in the moment?
We'll caveat it. But,
okay.
So when Ari and I were fencing, I got my 14th touch and I lunged at him and I hit him. And he went to take the parry and his tip's out here and he got touched. And for fencers, in that moment when you're already
returning,
already about to return your blade, you have a choice to make. Am I just going to let it go even though I've already gotten hit? Excuse me. You have this choice to make. Am I going to let it go even though I've already gotten hit? Or am I going to stop and not whack this person? and Ari chose the former.
I chose violence.
And Ari whipped me with his blade across the left ass cheek, like full blade contact, just across my butt. And I have a personal rule when I fence where, sometimes these things hurt, right? Sometimes you get whacked in the backhand, the shin, you're bleeding, you're bruised, the knees, the ankles, right? Everybody's had this where like it hurts, you're gonna live, but you kind of limp a little bit, or you gotta like rub it out. Ever since I was a kid, I've made a personal rule: don't react, right? Unless I get hit in the nuts, I'm not reacting. I'm gonna not limp. I'm gonna force myself to walk normal, no matter how bad it hurts, just because it's like a little game.
It's a fighting sport.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna let anybody.
But you did.
I'm not gonna show weakness. So this one stung so bad, and I wanted to like rub it out, like rub it, or whatever. But I just took a deep breath, started walking back to my on guard line while my ass is throbbing, and out loud I went, "How'd you know I like it like that?"
We fenced on February 14th, and it took me a day to come up with this, but in the moment, I really wish I had said back, "Happy Valentine's Day." But I did not. So shout out to, in women's epee, Tierna Oxenrider, one of our teammates from New York Athletic Club, got 5th place. And through my secondary club, New York Fencing Academy, where my coach, Misha Makhrisov, coaches, we had 3 ladies in the top 8, including Tierna, who also is New York Athletic Club, New York Fencing Academy, and Elizabeth Zagallo and Alexandra Rachowski got 2nd. So that was a big deal. In men's foil, we did not have any teammates pop off. And in women's saber, we don't have any New York Athletic Club fencers.
Men's foil?
Men's foil, we got a 9th place from Sid Kumbla. Shout out, Sid Kumbla.
Nice.
And I believe that's it, because we also don't have women's foil. So it looks like it's a boys' club. In men's saber, we did have Darren Yen and Mitchell Sarin also get top 8,
nice.
5th and 6th. Mitchell Sarin, Olympian. Darren Yen coming out swinging though with that 6th place. And overall, it was just a fun NAC. I think that they handled the final strip area well. It was separated,
it was nice.
So you had to like make an effort to go there, and I thought it was nice and removed. And overall, just another good tournament down. I'm excited for the future of how these run. I'm excited for the future of seeing more supportive fans and listeners. I think that's really cool, and I think hopefully we'll be able to give you guys what you're looking for. We have a lot of really cool guests coming up, both current and non-current fencers, and we're going to try and do this more.
Yeah.
The live streams have been really well received. We're going to try to do those when we can. I don't know. We're really just trying across the board. So again, as always, if there's anything that you guys think we could do, and
we're open to feedback.
Yeah, we're
open to
We'd love
suggestions. We'd love to hear it.
Yeah. Do you get what?
I just wanted to say welcome to season 2. I don't know. Did we ever officially announce that?
No, but I do think our first official season 2 episode is coming out. Season 2 is just 2026 recorded.
Yeah. 2026 recorded. So, we've done a lot of these. We've learned a lot, and I think we're slowly becoming more and more professional, higher fidelity. Is that the word? Production.
Might be.
We're adding things to it, and
oh yeah, we have a song.
we have the intro song.
Okay, wait.
And have we ever officially?
We did on a live stream, but
we need
not
to
like
address
this.
this.
Okay,
Yeah.
so our intro song was written and produced and everything brought to life by a good friend of ours and another former fencer who is doing a lot of really interesting stuff with his life on the arts side of things. Colin Campbell.
Thank you, Colin.
Thank you, Colin, for the Direct Elimination theme song. We love listening to it. We have not played it in full, I think, on an episode. We did on a live stream.
Yeah, we did.
But maybe at the end of this episode,
we'll
go out with the full song. But it's really just so fun to see that come to life. We got a logo incoming. Some patches for our jackets, right? Or is that? Oh, okay. Excuse me.
We'll see.
What else is coming in the pipeline? we're going to be running our first clinics.
Oh yeah, the first clinics are coming up.
So cool.
We're very excited for that.
Yeah, and as always, if you're interested in having a clinic at your club or wherever it is you try to fence, reach out to us. Stephen and I, maybe there was a little bit of confusion as to what the clinics are, but really it's just Stephen and I finding ways to engage with the community via an education standpoint. We have a lot of experience, especially combined experience across the two of us. The only event that neither of us have competed in that is a major event other than the university games is the Olympic Games. But outside of that, we have a lot of national and international medals amongst the two of us, a lot of NCAA accolades, a lot of NCAA team championships, individual All-America honors, ACC championships, national championships, and the individual, international world championships medals, World Cup medals, even at the senior level with Stephen. A lot of team event experience, and just in general, we've been through it all, and we'd love to pass along some of that knowledge to fencers anywhere. And on top of that, we're still in our prime physically, so we're able to fence as well and provide that really fun experience of fencing with us outside of just, having us run classes and footwork and give feedback on situational bouting and how someone can improve. But really, I think that one of the elements at the moment that is the most fun is getting a chance to fence with us because we still got it. We still got it, and we'll definitely give you a fun time. So the clinic's happening, and we have a lot of other fun stuff in store that we cannot necessarily speak about yet just because it's not 100% official. But there's just prepare to see more of us whether you like it or not. Did you have anything else to close off this recording?
I'll just say that was very well said on the clinic front. Yeah, we know a thing or two. We'd love to share it with you. Hit us up. And again, thanks everybody for your support. Lots more coming. I won't say big things, but lots more coming from Ari and I.
You guys can make them big or keep them small. That's up to you.
Yeah, but we're excited for it all. We're excited for season 2, and we'll see how the rest of the season and this year goes, and we'll be right here with you guys.
Hopefully more direct elimination matchups. I need to get my get back.
You're never going to get it, Ari.
I'm going to get my get back.
I refuse to.
All right, let's see. Anyways, thank you guys for tuning in for another unplanned episode. And this may or may not end up on the listening platforms. The first one didn't, but maybe we should just go and throw it on.
Oh.
It's on YouTube only.
Oh, it's not on the listening platforms?
No, sir.
Oh, we should throw this one up too.
Yeah. Anyways, thanks for checking us out, guys. And we'll be back next time with Direct Elimination. And cue the Direct Elimination theme song by Colin Campbell.
What a sensation, gliding through actions in soft syncopation. Oh yeah, it's direct elimination. World-class minds, engaging razor-edge conversation. Locked in on the path of pure determination. There's a little window of light slicing through your thoughts in the sky. Start your preparation. Ooh, it's direct elimination. Ooh, it's direct elimination. 2 steps on a piece. Movements focused and lean, timing, distance, and pressure, patterns barely seen. From saber speed to epee patience, foils, finesse, and quiet foundations. Ooh, it's direct elimination. Ooh, it's direct elimination.
Without your support, we couldn't bring you episodes like this. So be sure to like, follow, share, and subscribe, and check us out on Instagram, YouTube, and anywhere you listen to podcasts.
It's too big to